Three storms that we're tracking. We're approaching storm number 1. Rain has started to move in. We had patchy fog this morning. It's still around this afternoon. The next threat on our radar, another round of a wintry mix for Friday afternoon into the late night hours. And then we are watching for later this weekend, more so into Monday now, the likelihood for a coastal storm trying to form. Of the 3 storms we're tracking, today is by far the weakest as we are looking at some of that messy mix. However, the amount of snowfall does not look to be significant. A moderate snowfall potential moving north of the Pike Friday. However, if the track of the storm on Monday follows what the GFS model has been suggesting, this could be a more significant snowfall for us. We did just get an update from the GFS model shortly before the newscast, and I want to show you that we're now seeing with the position of this area of low pressure, it's just outside of the benchmark. That is a slight change and a slight eastward jog from what we were seeing over the last few days with this model, which had it right over the benchmark and producing a potential nor'easter here. So slightly less snowfall from the model that's suggesting the heaviest snow. Meanwhile, we continue to see a consistent pattern here with the European model keeping the storm well away from the benchmark, and so we are not looking at significant impacts heading into Monday. A lot to watch there. Let's get through storm number 1. We're seeing the first sign of this storm as rain is now spreading through. I do want to show you, though, off to our north and west, that sign of a wintry mix extending through much of New York. So that eventually will be something we'll track for later this evening, mainly after sunset. For now, it's mainly rain. You can see that's extending into Boston with some patchy fog, also reducing our visibility. You'll want to watch. There could be some wet snowflakes mixing in. I'm seeing some signs of that on the radar as you're traveling from the Mass Pike moving southward through the areas like Dedham at the moment. Len, let's take it down toward the south coast. It's mainly rain, but there's some signs of sleet trying to mix in toward the immediate south coast. And this will be another area where we'll watch for that changeover eventually as we travel through the night. We are sitting in the mid to upper 30s right now, approaching the low 40s. So that is why we are talking about rain initially, but our temperatures will start to plummet as we travel toward sunset tonight and thereafter. So that's why we get into that messy mix potential. Let's break down the timeline for all of us. Here we are at 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's a steady rainfall for most locations, especially from the Mass Pike south. We move towards 6 o'clock. At that point, we're past sunset. We're seeing our temperatures starting to drop and some signs of snow and sleet mixing in. This will likely be a really wet snowflake that starts to mix in with that rainfall. So initially, we'll have a hard time sticking. I think it's well after sunset. So this window between 6 to about 10 p.m. that we see a very narrow window, but a potential there for us to get snow that could stink. Now, the amount of snowfall does not look significant. We're talking a coating to an inch for most locations in and around Boston. However, as you travel farther westward, a little bit elevation through the Worcester Hills, we could see closer to 2 inches, upwards of 2 to 4 inches moving out toward the Berkshires. So this could turn our road slick heading into late tonight if you do have travel for the overnight hours. We are drying out for tomorrow. It's a beautiful day tomorrow. We'll see some sun, high temperatures approaching 40 degrees, but then we're right back at it with storm number 2. Here it is. Snow initially moving in for Friday afternoon. So this is an earlier arrival, likely going to track this into the overnight hours before moving out. That's going to bring that next potential for a moderate snowfall,